Alright. What else we got over here?
Let's go.
Oh, awesome, a workbench. Tinker? I have money for it. I'm gonna tinker it. Will cost 27 bits. Damage increased by a little bit. Alright. Two. 27 bits. Alright. Try it. I think my armor. Sure. Modify. Can we modify this thing? Change the weapon damage type to shock. So then they're going to use energy? Yeah. Use the amount of ammunition the weapon magazine carries. Green, far upon electrocuting the target. Why not? So, finish. Move.
Not even a scratch.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. It's in his head. I don't see any.
The last.
Make him get all the goodies. All right. Might be a quick way to get out of here, right?
Once we do this, there's no going back. Hey, listen. Sorry, I know you're in a hurry. I know you want your power regulator and all. I just feel like we should go talk to Adelaide. If we're gonna kill her power, least we could do is give her people a fair warning.
You got a point.
Oh, well, thanks. I mean, you're welcome. But, I mean, I appreciate you hearing me out.
Now, is this like all the other, like the Fallout games where I just have a choice of whoever I want for companions. So if I want to switch to Max or whatever companions I get, I can just move them whatever one works best. Alright, now Adelaide over here. So possibly. I want to get over there. Get here. And get up here. There we go.
Move along, stranger. We don't want any trouble.
Yeah, Grace.
I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along.
I'm looking for Adelaide. I need some answers.
Answers, huh? You must be one of those philosophicals. Already got ourselves one of those.
Reed said something about former workers living out in the wilderness.
Yeah, that's us. And you can tell Thompson we're doing just fine by ourselves. If you're gonna start wandering around my camp, know that I got my sights on you.
Where can I find Adelaide?
Over in the hothouse, tending crop. Enough with the questions. No offense, but I've got a lot on my mind.
Trouble with Marauders?
You don't know what enough with the questions means? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if Marauders got to her.
I'll keep an eye out.
It's not like Zoe to go wandering. Figured she might be out scavenging, but that ain't exactly her talent. Can't imagine where she's gone. Vale's a wide place. She could be anywhere.
Less Marauders got her than parts to be all over the place. I'll find her.
Appreciate it. Honest.
Questions about Zoe.
I'll tell you what I can.
You know where she might be hiding?
Vex me. If she told anybody, they ain't telling me. I'd check her room, but I got yelled at for snooping once already.
Snooped around in a room?
Little ways ago. She was always obsessing over her serial dramas. Wanted to see what the fuss was about.
How well do you know her?
Well enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of her mind, he does.
Alright. Maybe the Marauders took her away.
Could be. Dangers aplenty out there. No telling why Marauders would steal somebody like Zoe. Got no useful skill as far as I can tell.
That's nice. Any chance you could point me somewhere specific and just not out there?
Marauder gang just moved into the districts a little ways east. Their numbers are growing. Gotta come from somewhere. What is it?
Nothing. Leave. Hi, deserter. Get my way, deserter. Come to steal. nobody seems to care that we just take everything. Nothing.
You hungry? We got canid ribs, canid flank, canid snout too. Something I can help you with?
I'm told one of your numbers have gone missing.
You mean Zoe? Yeah, we were pretty close. Not like her to go loping off.
What happened on the day Zoe disappeared?
Zoe and I were gonna watch the serials, as is our custom. She never turned up. I looked around, but she was nowhere to be found. You sound like some type of corporate fixer asking all these questions.
Was she acting strange?
Can't say I recall Zoe ever acting strange. Well, except for her habit of writing things down on scraps of paper. She called it journaling, but I think it's just plain odd.
Tell me a little about Zoe.
Zoe was always obsessed with this serial. Masked Marketeer. A scion of Byzantium turns to banditry and teaches his marauder companions the wisdom of free market economics. Shame she up and vanished when she did. I had a surprise lined up for her.
Oh, what's the surprise?
The other day I got my hands on a genuine copy of the latest Masked Marketeer. I was gonna surprise Zoe with it, but she was gone the next day.
Okay. Okay. Actually,
Something I can help you with?
trade.
Fresh off the limb, and that includes canid meat.
Sell some of this stuff, shall we? I could probably destroy some of this, though. I think I might do the rest of these for parts, though. Now that I put more into weight. Though I don't know about some of this stuff. Machine gun, 320 DPS. I should have. Maybe there's a workbench here. I can try to break it down. Zoe's journal. And that's it then. No more Edgewater for me. No more cannery. No more jumpsuits and gloves. Yes, ma'am. That would be that you would like others or others. I don't know why I'm writing this down for prosperity's sake, because I've always hated the cannery, and I don't think I'll ever have to look back at this journal for many years hence. And tell myself, oh wow, I did hate the Veil once, didn't I? Because I got sick. Everybody gets sick. Well, okay, I got sick and I grabbed a little too much adrenatime. Is that really a crime? I got to treat myself when I'm sick. Whatever happened to personal responsibility and surviving one's own on one's own bootstraps? Oh, you misappropriate one box of adrenatime and suddenly you're committing larceny. Good news, I'm alive, feeling a little better too. It's a group of deserters living out in the old botanical labs. They found a way to grow some food, or something that passes for food, anyway. Adelaide boiled a pot of something green and leafy. She told me to drink it twice a day for my symptoms. I suppose it tastes atrocious, but I've been feeling better. It's nice to be away from the cannery. The labs have just enough power to run Aetherwave. I've been catching up on my serial dramas. Mass marketeer. What can I do without you? Go crazy, most likely. Cracked up, murder all my neighbors, and run screaming into hills like a wild marauder. I know, doesn't sound too bad. I can see myself leading a cadre of marauders, band of bandits. Wait, that doesn't sound right. A band of bandits? What do we call ourselves? Orbital 14? 100 hooligans? Featuring Zoe. Today's a day. Today's the day that you'll take destiny in your own hands. I've been listening to Grace talk about the Marauder Threat, band of wild, free-spirited bandits living in camps out in the hills, warming themselves by the light of barrel fires, probably mounted the heads of their enemies on spikes, warning to folks like me, living a life of comfort and ease, free of any rules. I bet they would take the whole region if they were organized. Been tucking away in some of Adelaide's food, and I got some spare cans of Saltina. Could last me a few weeks if I ration. Got some Adrena time, too. Everybody loves Adrena time. Even Marauders, right? I got odds. Those Marauders will let me throw in with them if I dangle a couple syringes of Adrena time before their eyes. This is going to be great. Look out, Terra 2. Bandit Queen Zoe's origin story has just begun. Gonna have a whole gang of marauders at my beck and call. Maybe I can even score some Rizzos. Well. Just gonna leave it out there for me. Personal files. Password required. Experimental notes. Everybody repurposing the botanical lab from its original concept as a gear in the soulless automation of corporate machines. This greenhouse may be impressive, but like all Spacer's Choice products, it is cheap and unreliable. I shall have to make some repairs with my own two hands. This place shall become a nursery. Before it was abandoned, I understand the horticulturists failed to produce a single viable crop. Something about soil being too poor. I'm determined to find a way. An eternal smile upon my endeavors. Flora and living are living things. And sensitive to their environment and any breathing, thinking body. I contend that the crops in this region fail because the corporate scientists tending them are cold, heartless, inhumane people acting on behalf of sterile and inhumane power. One cannot expect your crops to flush with green and reach the sky under these conditions. Plants love electrolytes. The soil is sour, it's true. I don't know quite how to explain that. I'm sure the scientists will say something about biology or carbon cycle. But I conclude that after months of my own experimentation, and the secrets to a rich and wholesome garden is love, attention, compassion, natural fertilizer bursting with organic materials, just as nature intended. Can't live with that. Gold teeth.
Oh gosh, it's so pretty.
You say so. Like it's anything rich for me to steal.
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear?
It must be Adelaide.
I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned.
I hope so. Is this your greenhouse?
No, dear. The garden belongs to us all. Life is the gift of the universe, and the universe yields its bounty equally, absent of prejudice.
Surprised you managed to grow anything out here.
The soil around the Vale went sour years ago, but I found a way to sweeten it back up. The secret recipe is a little bit of elbow grease, a dash of love, and a heaping pile of special fertilizer.
It's like you made a home for yourself out here.
A home for anyone who's ever turned their backs on Edgewater. A home for those of us with nowhere left to go and nothing to lose. So, like the spores of the puffball, cast on the wind and alighting on fresh soil, we put down new roots.
Why'd you leave your old home?
It is an unpleasant story, dear. But the short of it is that sometimes one wakes up and realizes the place that was once her home for much of her life has changed. The home in which we spent our lives has left us behind, and so we must move on. And that is as much as I will say on the subject.
Reed sent me to make peace with you.
Reed Thompson? You here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then?
Asks you to consider coming back to town, he will make amends.
Make amends? Spare me. Only thing Reed knows how to make is a mess. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves.
Reed asked me to divert the power over to him. He mentioned a geothermal plant.
He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans?
Your camp has a power regulator. I need it to repair my ship.
Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip 'em out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do.
What have you got against town?
You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scrap Spacer's choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
What do you have against people trying to make a living?
It's not much of a living. Every single person in that town has sold themselves to Spacer's Choice. The company owns them. Body, blood, and bones. You've been there. You've seen it. All anyone ever does is toil over a cannery. They give their lives for some heartless corporation, and then they're tossed into a Spacer's Choice brand cemetery.
What happens to Edgewater if I...
Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives.
What are these gold teeth for?
Haven't you ever seen a novelty paperweight?
Reminds me of the guy I heard about. Someone named Eugene. He had gold teeth.
I remember a Eugene. Pleasant enough boy. Whatever happened to him?
He shot himself.
Wish I could say I was surprised. That town has a way of crushing your spirit. At least his remains have returned to the soil where they belong. Except for his teeth, of course. Gold does not decompose. The teeth had to be removed. And while I am no licensed dentist, I should think I did a fair job of it.
Using decomposing bodies fortify the soil and help your crops along?
I cannot tell you how refreshing it is to converse with a rational mind. That's exactly right. Rot is necessary for life. A corpse is bursting with the nutrients a young sapling craves.
Wow.
The crops I grow here are natural, nutritious, healthy. My garden does more than fill the bellies of my flock.
What are you going to do when you run out of people?
It keeps them from falling ill.
Seems pretty calm for someone who just admitted grinding up corpses for fertilizer.
The Vale's barren. Been that way for years. Soil's been sterile about as long as I can remember.
They found a way to grow something.
All I did was follow nature's own way. Death is essential to life. When the spirit leaves the body returns to the earth from whence it came. What remains is a carcass moldering neath the soil. Decomposition is a natural process, essential to new life. All life feeds on other life.
You have an opinion?
Oh, I don't know. If it was me, I'd be glad to volunteer. Keeping others alive, that'd be a beautiful gift to leave. But none of the folk you used had a say. You didn't ask, ma'am. And what about my dad? I talk to his grave every Saturday. Is he even there?
Robert is just where you left him, dear. He died too long ago. By now, he's naught but a skeleton.
Glad I didn't eat before talking to you.
Whatever you say, my dear. I'm listening.
When we first talked, you assumed I'd come to live here.
I am getting old, you know. These two lamps of mine are not as bright as they once were. Or I might have seen you for what you are.
I don't imagine you get a lot of visitors.
My dear, we are all visitors in a momentary universe. Our lives flicker in and out like the guttering of a flame. Here now, then gone. Me and mine are just carrying on as best we can, trying to live our lives in a way that does not feel wasted.